Welcome to Mind Myself podcast, Conversations with E. I'm Esther, or you can call me E, and I'm the founder and visionary for this fabulous platform called Mind Myself. Please do check us out. Today, we are going to have a wonderful, juicy conversation about living as your most authentic self. And we have an amazing guest, Adara Angelucci. Adara, welcome, and please tell us a little bit about who you are.
Oh, thanks, E, for having me. And I love everything you're doing. I have been on a journey through my entrepreneurship since 2011, and it is a journey. I always say that entrepreneurship is the biggest spiritual and personal development journey you didn't even know you signed up for. And I have been so blessed to be in it still and evolving through it. I launched out with a television show. That was the first thing I did. And then that morphed into owning a video and marketing production company. And now it's morphing into coaching and speaking and authoring and event hosting and all the things. So yeah, in total, I've done many things. I've worn lots of hats, and I have just been thriving through the experience.
Oh, that's fantastic. And I
Most
know that,
days, most days,
yeah, most days, but
most
hey, there
days.
are hills and valleys, right? And we have to navigate through them all.
Yes,
One of the things that we do in Mind Myself is encourage people, especially women in their late 40s and up, because, that's when things start to really shift and change. But we encourage everyone to become their own best health advocate. And some of
lovely.
that is totally about understanding yourself, about leaping into the journey, about embracing who you really are and not putting the mask up or living into
Mm.
expectations. So I look forward to hearing a little bit more about your journey. And let's just leap right in. So you've said you never really quite fit into that traditional mode of
Mm.
life and the boxes and all of that stuff growing up. What was it like for you to be a kid with ADD and always questioning authority?
It was tough. I got in trouble a lot. I got reprimanded. I got detained. I got suspended. I was pushing boundaries on the adults in my life, and they didn't like that very much. And I understand how we fall in line. I understand how people start to pick up the cues of what we're being asked to do and who we're being asked to be. And I don't know, it just didn't sit right with me. I guess I was, maybe it doesn't fit for everyone. Maybe it doesn't feel right for everyone, but we don't know what else to do. And we're going to listen to our grown up. And that's good stuff in a way. And then in another way, we really need to be true to who we are. I guess at a young age, I just knew that I was here to express who I was, and it wasn't comfortable, and it wasn't always safe, and it wasn't always applauded. But something in me, there was some drive that just was saying, you need to just keep on trying to be yourself, whatever that looks like as it evolves and changes.
Absolutely. And in a world that is celebrating now neurodiversity in all of its incarnations, we didn't, I think you and I'm a little bit older than you, but we
Mm.
didn't grow up with that celebration in the same way.
Mm-mm.
And there are some people who really fit well into a linear world and like the ABCs in the and give it to me straight in a line is what I mean.
Yeah.
And other people just don't. And I think we all have different brain wirings. And I think it's fair to say that even those of us who might like things in a linear concurrent fashion also are very creative. And so it's
Mm.
about giving ourselves permission to expand that. And I
Yeah.
know that you were always a very curious individual growing up.
Hmm.
So what do you think sparked that curiosity and how did it shape how you move through the world?
So you know her. She's my mom, Karen Angelucci. We'll give her a shout out. I mean, she was raising a daughter that was wild and free. and as an only single parent and trying to figure out who she was through the journey of life, as a young mom. And we did a lot of fun things together that helped me see that there were different ways of being in the world. So I don't know if you remember back in the day in Vancouver, but there was a dance studio called Edam, and it was where
Yes.
improvisational movement
Yes.
was practiced. And so I got to experience what that was like. Denise Goldbeck, who's also local, she has a program called Kids in the Spotlight, where kids of all ages get together and put on a performance at the end of the week in Gabriola. And so I got to experience that. And my mom just had me in these different worlds with all of this new age experiences. And I guess my mind just saw other ways of knowing and being. And so I knew that whatever I was being taught in school or whatever direction, linear folks wanted to see me in wasn't the only way, right? And I guess that was just so it is really letting your children have experiences to see that there are other ways of being. And I guess it has solidified who I am as a person because I so believe in acceptance of all. There's like zero boundaries in my mind about who someone needs to show up as. I love meeting unique people. I love seeing unique art. I love seeing the differences in others and really respecting that and accepting that. Even if I maybe don't see that for myself or that's not a belief that I hold or that I want to take on, I still can accept that that's what they're all about, and I applaud
Yes.
them for what they want to do. Yeah.
Absolutely. And in a world right now that is filled with polarity, and if you don't think this, then oh my gosh, you're not. Or if you don't think this, then I don't want to talk to you. And I remind myself, we're all about cultivating unity in times of
Mm.
divisiveness.
You
And
have to.
I
What's the
know,
point? It just feel even just thinking about this or that, it just creates this conflict in my body. And what do I want that for? I want to feel love and peace and I want to feel joy and I want to feel comfort. Well, I'm only going to get there if I allow all that divisiveness and it has to be this or that go. Like even today I was tested again this morning around what we're doing for Christmas Eve. I really had it in my head how I was doing it, and somebody's had it in their head about how we're doing it. And I just had to let go and let flow because if I'm going to fight this battle, it's just going to create dis-ease in my body, and I don't want it. I don't need it. It's not that important to me. My
which
peace is
is
more important.
absolutely. And it's a great example of when we're our authentic selves, it doesn't mean the path is always easy.
Mm,
But it means being able to express it, but then deciding, do we let it flow? Do we let it go? Or do we stand? And sometimes
right.
we do need to take a stand. And sometimes
Yeah.
you have to choose, okay, this Christmas Eve, no, it's not going to be how I want
Not
it.
important. Yeah.
But then how do I be authentic in that experience and how do I show up? I think that that's really key as well.
Yeah, I mean, okay, if we want to talk about being authentic in all moments is definitely difficult because this particular, this part of my family, I've always had a hard time being myself around. Not that I am not myself, I am myself, but I'm just like not the fullest expression of myself. When you're around certain people where they create space for you to fully express, and you don't even really think twice about it. You're just so in the moment, and everything just feels so alive and engaging. I've cultivated a lot of friends and other folks in my life where I get to be that
Yes.
with. And then there are going to be groups of folks that it is difficult. I don't know what you have to say about that or how you stand in your truth around those moments, but it definitely feels like there's conflict
Absolutely.
in
I,
your
I
being.
I wholeheartedly agree. There are some circumstances and people that I can show up fully as myself, and some people just don't create that space, like you just said.
Yeah.
And One of the ways you mentioned Edom before, and it
Eh,
holds a special place in my heart because I studied with Jane Ellison for about
wow.
25 years. I went to her Boeing class
Oh, yes,
for
yes.
about 20, like
So
really three
good.
times a week. I so miss it. I so miss
So
it.
miss it. I want to
Co
do a class like that. I do. I want to like cultivate. I wanted to create a class like that. It's so
I'll
great.
come. I'll
Yeah,
come.
okay.
You create it. I'll
Yes,
come
yes.
because I've been looking for another one. And I know Jane's
Right.
only teaching on the weekends now. She's in her 70s. So,
Oh,
you
oh
can only
wow.
do what you can do. And she
Yeah.
probably can still kick our butts, but there you go.
Oh, so cool. Yeah.
Yeah, so there are some moments where we can show up fully as ourselves, but then
Mm.
some people we don't have full permission, and that's
Mm-hmm.
okay too. So how do we be as authentic as possible without
Yes.
because we don't have to dump on other people either, but how do we hold our own internal space and be in peace
Mm-hmm.
with ourselves, knowing it might just be level one is what I call it.
I love that. And I
And
love
that's
that.
okay
And
too.
yeah, same. I mean, before, I have had moments where I've shrunk, and especially I can get into rooms of people where I think somehow, some way, all of these people are better than me and I shouldn't be in this room, right? Or something. And you really have to just I don't know what you do in those moments, Esther, but somehow you have to cultivate your own power and your own unique stance and just own who you are and
Absolutely.
feel good about it.
Yeah, and I think one of the keys is going inside, like you said, own your own
Mm.
power, but then just send love and light.
Oh, that's lovely.
People are where they are. And if I can come to the place, even when I'm feeling frustrated and going, oh, really? Again? Or new or whatever it is, and go, oh, right. Everything is either a loving intention or a cry for help, and they're probably crying for help, but they don't really want it. So I'm going
Mm.
to send love and light into the situation, just energetically, and then that changes it for me, whether they change or do anything differently or not, because I've brought myself to a different place of peace around it. So that's one of the things that
Hmm.
I do as I explore and continue to be in my world and work on myself.
Mm. Okay, Esther, you brought up a good point with the love and light. So do you find though that people, I'm usually the interviewer, so this is hard for me. Don't you find though that people have a hard time being love and light when they've got so much going on inside? This is what I'm always saying. Like the word for 2025 has been like regulating, but you literally have to like regulate yourself and be in a good place to be able to send love and light. Otherwise, you're feeling crummy. You're not showing up as, all you can be because of you're tired and your energy's down and whatever you got going on. Do you find that we have to do our own inner work to be able
Yes.
to give unconditional love and light out, where it's a full cup and I'm not coming from a drainage situation?
Absolutely, and that's the key. You mentioned inner work. If we're not in the process of doing our inner work regularly, whatever that means to you,
Mm-hmm.
you have to, we're each on our own journey.
Mm-hmm.
I'm learning how to meditate. I'm 61 and I don't have a handle on meditation, but I can do moments of quiet, and maybe that is meditation. Everybody does
It
things
is.
differently. When I
Yeah.
was doing Jane's class and we did boing and movement and an hour and a half and then got to stillness, that was my deepest place. I came to
Love.
realize that over the years. But to answer your question and to be in this dialogue, which I love, I think if sometimes you just have to act even when your feelings don't align,
Mm.
because we're not always going to feel what we feel, but if we are intentional, we write intentions or we live intentionally and say, this is who I want to be, this is how I want to show up in the world. And when I feel frustrated, it's not if, it's going to be a when. When
Mm-hmm.
I feel frustrated, this is what I'm going to choose to do inside me. And
Mm.
I may not be successful in some moments. I may
Oh,
have to go,
yeah.
oh, bring it back.
Mm.
You might be young, but there was a time in theaters where they had this big new sound and went, and it would come to this place. So I love that as a auditory metaphor for myself. So if I can come back to myself and go, right, I intended to do this and be this. And so if I can send it from a place of intention, even if my feelings don't quite align yet. So
Love. Love. And it doesn't matter when someone hears this podcast, they should look at their intention. And those are great questions to ask. And also during this podcast is the birth of a new year. So it's a great time. It's a great time to ask
Yes,
yourself these questions. Yes.
absolutely. I love that discussion. Now, you've been on a number of adventures
Oh,
around the
yes.
world looking for love.
Yeah. I
Just
wrote a
tell
book
us a
about it.
little bit about the adventures that you've had in your life.
Sure. So the book Free Spirit kind of talks about most of them. It's how self-love, chaotic creativity, and questionable choices taught me to lead. And it's literally the journey of me finding me. And the adventures started when someone said, you'd be really good on cruise ships. Like, have you ever thought about being a host on a cruise ship? And I said, tell me more. And they said, well, you basically get to just talk to people all day and create games and dance and have a good time. And I said, oh, well, that sounds, and travel the world. And I thought, oh God, this sounds like a dream job at 22 or however old I was. So off I went on my cruising adventure for a few years, and I got to travel all over Europe and the Caribbean and up to Alaska, and it was absolutely amazing. I could see how people get stuck there because it's so fabulous. I always tell all young people who have, theatrical or, exciting abilities to want to talk to people and socialize and travel the world and do something kind of fun like that, that cruise ships are definitely a great place to be. And then when I came back, I got my dream job with Rogers Radio. At the time, it was like News 1130 and 104.9. And I got to be a promotions coordinator where I was out and about at all the cool concerts in town and meeting all the who's in our city and loving life. And it was really quite sad because I did a boo-boo where I saw this guy in a band, as you do when you're in your 20s, who I thought was just, above and beyond. And so I loved their music, mostly him, but the music. And I started giving it to all the DJs, the disc jockeys, and the reps that I knew at all the record labels. And my boss found out about that, and she said that was a complete conflict of interest. And so she had to let me go. So I thought, oh my God, I've been outed and now, I've got this fired on my jacket and the town, no one's gonna hire me again and I'm such a loser and oh my gosh. And then that night, I went to go see P.S. I Love You with Gerard Butler and Hilary Swank. I don't know if you remember the movie.
Mhm.
But
Yep.
I was literally like, oh my God, I've got to go to Ireland and meet my husband that's like Gerard Butler. And so I hopped on a plane and arrived in Dublin and started chatting with the girls there. And they said, oh gosh, girl, Gerard Butler's from Scotland. Like you have the wrong country. Like no Irish guy is like that. And I was like, oh, great. So I ended up there almost for a year. I ended up meditating because I couldn't afford to live there and drink beer. So I became sort of a monk in a way and got into this whole yogi world and really found my self-love and found who it was that who I was looking for, which I thought was external, which I thought was this perfect guy, and it ended up being myself. So that was a really great aha moment, which then led to so many cool adventures after that. I got picked up to do emceeing across Canada for the 2010 Olympic torch relay that happened for our Olympics. And then it's just been adventure after adventure after adventure after that because I've met my now husband, and with our video company, we get sent to Costa Rica, Nicaragua, Australia, all over to do filming for different companies and folks that are doing cool stuff in the world. And it's just been such a dream to be able to travel and do the work I love and interview people. And now the biggest adventure of all is having a 4-year-old. And I know most of you don't think of children as being an adventure, but they are quite a experience, which we waited till we were 40 to do. And it's been just a joy, just an absolute joy. Yeah. And we take him everywhere.
Amazing. Yeah,
Yeah.
of course. And we could talk for hours about the amazingness of your adventures in your life, but we'll
That
just
was
leave
good. That was the highlights. You got the
that
highlight
little
reel.
tidbit there. So,
Yeah.
and I know that one of your journey, you talked about finding yourself, finding the
Hmm.
light in yourself. Now, how does that translate into you finding the light in other people?
I think it just does. That's so interesting. I never really thought of it that way. Ooh. Well, I seem to have this gift, but maybe this gift has come about because I've done the work. Isn't that something where I can see somebody and hear what they're about and see where they're wanting to go? And then it's like I have some direct line on how they can do it. And I see it and I can map it out and I can say things to them where they think, gosh, like, have you known me forever? Like, yes, I want that. And yes, this is what I'm about. And let's do it. And then that just translates when I do their videos. We were able to really showcase the person. And I don't, that's how it's translated. You're absolutely right. That's so cool. I think you gave me an aha moment there. You did
Excellent.
give
We
me
like
one.
aha moments.
Yeah.
And what would your advice be to somebody watching this who maybe hasn't had the adventurous life that you have, or
Mm.
isn't creating videos, but is living maybe some of the linear, or maybe, maybe they're scouting around. What's some of your advice for somebody else?
Oh, just to keep being yourself and to have maybe someone like me in your life that kind of kicks you in the butt to make you do some cool new stuff if that's something you're wanting for yourself. But if not, and you are somebody who is in your path and you're loving your path, then having someone that can see you and help you to keep evolving and growing and going forward with what you're wanting for yourself is so helpful. I mean, I don't think I would be where I am without the amazing women that I have in my life who
Oh.
keep showing up for me and hearing where I'm wanting to go and sort of fact checking for me to see if that's something I really want, or even pushing me into areas that I've said I've wanted that I've sort of dropped because it's scary or I don't know how. And it's just so important to have people like that in your life that are willing to go on that adventure with you. That's the adventure right there. And there are so many that don't really think that way, and they have their steady job and their steady way of life, and they just will never know what it's like to keep questioning yourself day in and day out about where you're going and what you're doing and what you offer and who you want to be now.
And maybe somebody's okay with that and not questioning, and that's okay too if that's their path. But if somebody is wanting to question and or has had those niggling questions coming at them and they've just got, well, maybe I shouldn't.
No,
Yes, open the
get out of
door.
here. Yeah,
Open the door.
open it. Open
Ask
it.
the questions. And I love what you brought up. Talk to other women. I mean, talk to me
Yes.
too, or whoever you've got in your world, but
Yes.
talk to other women. I was just at a networking event yesterday and meeting some really cool women doing awesome things, and I want to do more in-person networking because
So good,
there's
right?
just nothing like the
Nothing
energy
like
of
it.
being in the room. But connect with those who are closest to you. And if you don't have your own collective or tribe or collaborative community, then go do something you like, and then you will find other people of like mind. And if the first one doesn't work, don't give up. Try
Yes.
again and keep finding, because sometimes we live in the Vancouver area, and I know sometimes it can be really difficult in this area. Somehow people are just not, it's harder to connect sometimes.
Mm,
So keep going.
don't
Don't
stop.
give up. Don't
That's
stop.
right.
You will find people of like mind.
1,000%. And I came out of my spiritual closet in 2018, where my take on life is that the whole experience is this spiritual 3D, whatever we're doing here. I'm not sure. I don't have all the answers. But also, then that means that my business is spiritual. And I thought that I was going to get, flack for that, or clients were going to leave me. There was like non-denominational, like it's all an experiment, is basically what I say. And nobody cared, like not cared, but nobody left me, nobody sent me horrible messages, nobody unfriended me. The fear I had around saying things like this, or were crazy. And when I finally did it, it was fine. I was fine. And so I think a lot of us do that. We think, oh, if I ask that person, or if I say that, or if I show up that way, or if I start, going down this road, it might kill me in a way. And partly, yeah, a part of you does pass on, which is the part that you don't no longer want to play that role of and be. And that's awesome. And you can give it a nice, thank you for being here and keeping me safe and all of those pieces. And also, you're safe to go forward and you will be held. That's just been my experience every single time.
I love it that you brought in the spiritual aspect of your life as well, because in mind myself, people tend to think of, okay, it's holistic health. Yes, but that includes body, mind, and spirit. And
Hmm.
we really need to, and there's a woman named Andrea Menard. I don't know if you know who she is, but
Of
she's
course
a
I do.
Métis,
Uh-huh.
fabulous actress, advocate, singer, songwriter, playwright, author,
Oh,
etc. Amazing. She
she
has
is.
actually her sacred circle is new moon circle is tonight.
Oh,
So I'm going
fabulous.
to be part of that. But she talks about the four sacred bodies, the mind, the emotion, the physical, and the spiritual. And I believe we need to be addressing all of those. So if
Yes.
we begin this conversation with mind, myself, that's why we're not talking about health specifically, but we are
Mm.
talking about
We are talking
health,
about health.
the
We
different
damn well
kind
are.
of, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
absolutely, different kind of
Mm-hmm.
health. So how do you continue to evolve? What does that look like for you?
Oh, it's putting myself in rooms where I'm not the leader of. It's venturing into different opportunities that make me feel unsafe in the sense that I don't really know how it's all going to play out. Yeah, it's really putting myself in areas where I don't feel like I'm in control and I'm the leader. It's very easy for me to lead, and I feel very safe in my containers. So it's always shooting out of my container
Mm.
into areas where I feel like people aren't going to get me, or, I don't know how I'm going to be perceived. That still comes through in my mind. And I just am starting to not care. I don't know if this is like an age thing, which I don't believe in age, but like an experience thing where you've just done it enough times, like you have the wisdom. That you'll be okay. Like I just told everybody to go do that. So I have to walk my talk too.
Yes.
And that's how I evolve. Also, with just the spiritual front and the health front, too, when we don't stuff things down, when we're able to have the tools and the resources, when you're starting to look at your emotional landscape, when you're starting to look at your mental landscape, your physical landscape, all of those pieces, you have to have the tools and the people in your life that can hold and support you, and they are there. And then you start to hear yourself and you start to trust yourself and you start to feel out different ways of being. This is how I evolve actually, is changing the way I'm being, not to not be me, but be more authentically me as I'm evolving. And then in your health scape, it's like not you know who to go to. I mean, that's always a bit of I don't know about you, but it's an experiment for me. Like sometimes it's a naturopath, sometimes it's a physiotherapist. I'm going to a chiropractor today. I'm hoping he can fix my jaw, but I've already been to five other people about it. And also, I know that there's something like mentally and emotionally going on here too that I'm navigating. So when we're talking about the holistic approach, it's like all of the pieces are
Mhm.
playing in
Mhm.
everything we're doing. So to cut off parts of ourselves is just not where we need to be right now. We really need to be accepting all parts, just like we need to accept each other. So,
I love it. And as women, some of the people watching this are going to
mm,
feel, well, I've got a handle on my business life. I'm successful. I've got
oh,
a good job. I've got a
good.
career, whatever. Awesome. But maybe my relationships are struggling or I just don't feel good. I've been successful,
Mm,
but I don't feel good inside. So looking at the deeper places and going,
mm,
okay, what's one thing I can do? Or maybe somebody's going, "Oh, I'm just struggling in so many areas." And Adara said, "Oh, great, find your community." Well, I don't have one, and maybe I'm feeling all alone and lonely. Okay, got to start with one thing.
Totally.
Start with one thing, and it will progress from there. Wherever you're at, do the next thing, whatever that might be. And I
That's
love
funny.
what you said. Go deeper into your authenticity. And I think that's the journey of evolution. How to
Mm.
go deeper and deeper and deeper into who we really are.
What
And
does that even mean?
yeah,
Yes.
and isn't that why we're here?
Yes.
Ultimately, isn't that why we're all here? Is to become who we really are and to let it be
Yes.
free and to flow.
Yeah, we've been given some bad bills. Some of the thought process that we have, I don't think are serving us in the long term or even sometimes in the short term. So it's questioning. I think my curiosity mindset's a good one. It's questioning, like, does this suit me? Like, even if you are successful in your corporate life, is that actually what you wanted? And then why did you want that? And then what does that mean to you? And then what about the other aspects of your life? What do you want for those? And how do you juggle it all? And things are going to come and go and ebb and flow. And how do you stay sane in yourself throughout it, especially when things feel hard, bad, like just too much. Can you sit with that too and be like, this is an experience of life and it's okay that I'm not at my highest today, you know? I had to host a party a couple weeks ago, and I'm known to be quite energetic and out there and high energy. And some days I just can't be that. And when I'm in spaces where I feel super comfortable, I can tell them. I'm like, I'm not operating at 100% today, and I just let that be me.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just okay with it.
Yeah, it's pulling back the layers and
So
allowing,
many.
allowing. And I love what you just said as well, sitting in the discomfort sometimes, because it's not always going to be
No,
cake and
sunshine
ice
and
cream.
rainbows. Yeah.
Maybe it's never
Ooh,
cake and ice cream because that's sugar, but it's not always going to be easy and flow. But how do we bring ourselves and just sit in it and know that, as the saying goes, this too shall
too
pass.
shall pass.
So how do I
I
be
have to
in
tell
it?
myself that all the time.
This
Yeah.
too shall pass. Well, Sarah, this has been a fabulous
Oh,
conversation.
good.
As we wind down, what is something you want to leave our listener with today?
Oh, just never stop questioning. It might sound like it's a lot of work, but it's so interesting when you start to dive into your spiritual and emotional, physical, mental realms. What kind of messages, triggers, concepts, thought patterns, beliefs that you're holding there to then play around and experiment if you didn't think that way or if you didn't act that way in the next interaction that you have with a human, how different your life kind of unfolds, and just being curious on how all of that ties together and what the laws are of attraction and of all the pieces. And I don't know, I'm just a fascinated human being that doesn't want to stick in any linear box, doesn't want to be jam packed into something where I just let years and years go by and I don't sort of open my eyes to other ways of knowing and being. That's the only thing I can think of to say. And I know this is a long message, but the message is very clear that it's just be curious and ask questions
Hmm.
and see what happens.
I love that. Thank you so much for being here and sharing who you really are. It was so much
Um,
fun, and I hope other people enjoy listening to this
Me
as much as I've
too.
enjoyed talking to you. Thank
Me
you.
too. Thanks, Esther, for
Awesome.
having me.
And we do this because you matter.
Matter.
Hmm. Thank
That's
you.
good. That's good. They do. You do.
Hmm.